Mm, whatever. Hmm. All right. Hopefully, I'm live to most likely no one, but that's okay. I have my own little show ready to go to do some photo editing since I may as well record whatever I'm doing, walk through if people are interested to find out and check it out. So, all right. Well, for those who don't know me, my name's Kyle with Kyle Asher Photography and Tango Voyage. I've been dancing tango for quite a while, probably close to around 10 years now, and I've been doing photography for about half of that for about 5, 6 years or so, since pretty much starting tango. That's one of the main reasons I got into it. And now it's been going on for a while, and tango hasn't this past 2020, but I figured I'd make a photo book to just sort of commemorate memories and things that I've done in the past. And I need to edit photos for it and get it all created. So I've done quite a bit of the photo book work already, but there's some uh, festivals that I need to re-edit the photos for. And because I need to re-edit the photos for them, I may as well edit them live and possibly make a little series out of it. So hopefully this, well, this probably won't make the cut, but do this, make a whole video, and walk through my whole entire process from what I've done after importing and working directly in Lightroom. So let's take a look at what I have going on over here in Lightroom. All right, welcome to Adobe Lightroom. Well, first things I want to end up saying is spent way too much time this past week trying to set up a new little macro pad that I have going on to make my editing a little smoother for other things, not so much this, but for other little projects and other little photo editing I've been doing. But first things first, we have a selection of photos down here on the bottom that I want to go ahead and do. I think I have a total of like 12 photos for this particular festival that I want to get into a photo book. And for me to be able to use these photos, I need the high resolution files. This festival is Tree City Tango, which was back in March, April, May. I'd have to double check the dates. It's been quite a while since that ended up happening. The folders are only labeled exactly which day it was, not the actual date that photos were taken. So, but this was in 2019. And since this was the first time or the second year of Tree City Tango and the first time I attended, I got some photos for it. So a photo book that I'm currently working on is currently, I have like 12 photos for festivals I've only attended once. And then I think I have around 24 photos for festivals that I've attended more than once. So if I've attended 4 years and have 4 years worth of photos, I'll try to get all 4 years into it, showing older photos, newer photos, a little write-up about it. But this is just this one festival, so I think I have 12 photos available, and I think I have a total of 20 photos here. So I'll probably have to minimize them down or maybe edit some photos out or putting them in a different section or a few of these things. I think I have a section for DJs and other stuff along those lines. So some of the photos here may not be in the actual Tree City Tango photo section of the photo book, but instead will be listed in their own respective section. So first thing we see here, I'm in the develop section of Adobe Lightroom since I've already gone ahead and imported this, and everything has sort of gotten my default preset that's in there, as I have a little Kyle standard preset that's in here. I have a few other little settings, and I've edited a few of these just lightly as I've been trying to play with a few things. But I do have a basic preset. The basic preset, I'll probably have a whole nother video of it available that you can go ahead and watch, walking through my whole entire process from absolutely nothing to creating a basic preset if you want to do the same type of preset that I end up doing. I don't do anything that crazy, and for the most part, I find presets a little silly because I don't know what the picture I want the picture. It can end up helping, but I don't really have much of any presets other than a lot of the default ones there and stuff I've tried to make in the past. But you got one little picture here that I want to end up doing. I'm not sure what I've done with it. Haven't done any auto adjustments for transforming. My basic settings, if I have auto, no, needs to be bumped up a little bit since I want it a little nicer. And I'm probably not going to crop it because I'll end up cropping it in the photo book software itself. So instead, this one's just a logo. It's probably just going to be a header for what I end up having. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. Here. Okay, get everything there. Yeah, this one I'm probably not going to worry about too much. For my next one, I'm not sure. Let's see here. Auto setting, yeah, was a little too dark on auto. I play with auto a lot, mainly because I don't want to do too much in drastic editing. Let Lightroom sort of figure out what it wants. If I'm looking for a particular look, then I'll probably change things up. Like this, I don't need those highlights to be so high. I'd rather have it be equal. I don't need those shadows. I'd rather have those bumped up, etc., etc. But this, since I am running really high ISO, which, to be perfectly honest, is kind of needed. If I don't, that's what it came out with those settings, to try to be as close as I possibly could. But let's go ahead, get a little more texture, gives me a little bit more edge sharpening, a little clarity, and I most likely need to turn off any vignetting I have going on, since correction's already done. This was... And of course, it doesn't want to work very well. Let's get back here. No. So many things for that Lightroom is a giant pain on. And one of those things is being able to use key combinations to get exactly what you want, or using your keyboard to actually select what you end up wanting. Let's just say it took way too long getting my macro pad to actually work for doing quick little things, so I can dial in adjustments really quick to make that all happen. But for the most part, I probably don't need to do any color grading. I'm not worrying about trying to get rid of too many spot stuff. I hate using the spot removal tool personally. Technically, I could. I can do quick little spot removals. Why it looks like this off the top of my head, I can't remember what happened. I was messing with things, so. But don't need to do anything like that. It actually takes more time and more computer resources to bother using spot removal. If you're going to do something like that, I'd highly suggest just sticking with Photoshop and using the healing brush tool. It makes it so much easier and less intensive. So that's what I ended up doing. But for the photo book, I'm not really going to be doing a lot of editing individually on it. However, one thing I am going to do, even though my ISO is high, actually, instead of that, let's go down to detail. I contrast up on this for contrast separation, but I do want this a little higher. And what's my masking like on this? Okay, masking's fine. So, and a lot of these settings are a lot of my preset defaults, which of course you can go ahead and do. Check out my other video that I'll be making on that, which if you're watching this, the video on this, there'll be something up in a corner that will pop out that'll end up saying, hey, check out this video, or you can find it in the link in the description. But for those that are joining live, no, hasn't been made yet. Still something I need to end up working with. But because we have so much here, I have an effect that's just a big blur that's taking down texture, clarity, removing sharpness, removing noise. And I can much in the background, remove as much as I can. That's going to end up. No. trying to do some of these bigger brushes and everything because Lightroom is using uh, Lightroom is quite GPU intensive, trying to use a lot of these different brushes. So, hmm. Well, hey, at least my stream monitor's kind of working, but it's still showing way too high of a bitrate, and everything's giving me problem with lag skipping. So we'll see how this wants to work. Fixing streams because you kind of have to. Browser page, those are fine. Yeah, that's using pretty much no CPU resources. Is my GPU pretty much crashing on me? Let's see here. GPU, copy, don't care about copy. What's my CUDA doing? Nothing. Video encode's doing stuff. Nothing. Graphics code. Yeah, even that's not doing much of anything. So I gotta figure out what's happening here. Okay, my recording did stop, so. Hey, my stream monitor is actually working. So yeah, something was going on there. And it's probably due to Lightroom because Lightroom is a giant hog for everything that I have going on. So let's get Lightroom back up here. Right. Let's see if it wants to be missing a whole bunch of frames and render lag. This is always the challenge right now. I almost think I'm going to have to get a second, I almost need a second little card or something to do the encoding with. Actually, let's change my CPU process. So Lightroom only takes details. Lightroom, let's see here. I need to change my affinity so Lightroom does not use my first two cores at all for the processor. Wonderful. And you know what? I should have the majority of everything else on here completely removed since I don't need it. And I just have a bunch of other software running. So one moment. Closing out, closing out, closing out. And average frame time is doing fine. So let's get back here and let's get back to Lightroom. So back here again, I'll check on my missed frames as well as skipped frames and see what's going on. But let's start recording again, not just streaming. So I have something in the background. And hopefully that won't miss anything else with what's going in there. Memory usage and everything else is just fine. So yeah, I'll probably do my big blurring stuff that I had previously done in the adjustment brush a little later because it is very GPU and CPU intensive. And apparently trying to do that while streaming is not the easiest thing, at least for something big. If I'm doing something small, probably not that big of an issue. But for right now, I actually do need to do a few little things here. So I'll double check on all my stats here. Can I reset these? Oh, it won't let me reset my stats, unfortunately, without stopping the recording. So, hey, guess I'll worry about that some other time. So I need to set a better exposure. 0.5 is fine. Bring up the face exposure a little bit. I want the person to come out. Do I need to worry about highlights? Nope, not going to worry about any highlights. I'm going to bring up the shadow since that's going to be more on the face. And a little clarity, a little extra texture just there so that person will show up nice in the actual photo. Do I need any little bit? Yeah, I'm probably going to keep it a little brighter. The main little thing with, at least with photo editing, and I found, especially when doing something for print, anything on print is going to be much, much, much darker when it prints out versus it actually looks on the screen. So anything on the screen, it's going to look a whole lot brighter than anything that's going to be on print. It's just the nature of the beast. I have a little bit too much yellow, so I'm just going to bring the saturation down on yellow a little bit and turn that yellow hue into a little bit more orange. A little bit for what we want, but yeah, I think I just need the overall saturation down a little bit more. Once again, everything is going to be there, a little saturation, a little bit more vibrance just to pop the color that is there. So, all right, that photo done. This photo I've already done a lot of work on. What I mean by I've done a lot of work on, after my initial, and now after doing a lot of brush work. Doing some individual brush work, automatically adjusting the colors with a whole bunch of brushes. If I come here into brushes, you can see I have a brush for the gentleman here that's dancing. That's just masking just his face to get rid of color. I have my background blur, which is blurring all around them, as well as I end up having some other, this one's for the eyes, and this one is for her face. So I've already done quite a bit on this one, so I don't think I really need to do anything else on this one. So let's close out of this here, and let's see our next. Lightroom is going to be the giant pain for me to try to get everything working well. Yeah, pretty much. But hey, at least it seems to kind of be working. It's my little monitor here that I have for what's going on does not give me a live setting for it, so move everything else here. And it seems to be back from encoding lag, so let's continue on from here. So what do I have going on? Do I have one? And let's try this here without RTX voice. I'm not quite sure how well this will actually end up hearing. Well, I don't have my fan on in the background, so let's see if I can see what's going on with my... Oh, got to mute RTX voice since it's not enabled. Turn my monitor on for my desk mic. Hello? All right, no, I sound good. All right, sorry if it was echoey there, but let's get this going once more. All right, so let's get back to editing. Yeah. As much as I love RTX voice, it does a good thing. It'll get rid of all my background keystrokes when I do them, and it will filter out my little fan if I have my fan on in the background. It kind of, when it doesn't want to work, it doesn't want to work spectacularly. And it's probably not working spectacularly because my computer has an uptime of, I don't know now. Computer has way too much of an uptime. Where's and I used to know where all this stuff was back in the day, but now I don't. So, yay for not having to worry about a lot of this stuff. Ages and ages. Oh well, my computer's been on for way too long. And RTX voice, the longer it's on, the more it wants to background noise and the bigger headache it ends up having when it crashes. But oh my goodness, everything is so much smoother now. And I think I'm a little quiet now, so I need to bump up. Since I had gain set before, yeah, I just need to be 100% on this. All right. Yay for RTX voice. Okay, there we go. I should be right around -5. Ooh, almost peaked. Get myself just a little bit further down, and there we go. All right, so let's try this again, and it will probably work just fine. Here, heck, changing adjustment brushes. I'm not dropping anything. All right, so kind of done what I've wanted on this one. All's the big blur, but I think these next couple I haven't touched much at all. So let's see here. Have I done any adjustments? I've done a few adjustments on this one. Did I do the big blur on this one? Here. Yes, I did. So I've done all the big blurs on this one that I probably will end up wanting to do. But I didn't think it would find something. Time to readjust this here and try to get my vertical lines as vertical. See some vertical lines, that adjustment, so that fixes my little vertical lines. I'm looking at these lines here, as well as there was this little line here that I want, and this one here. So to have those. And for this one line in the background, what I'm looking for is actually this line right here, which is rotating. Let's see here. I know I want that one as straight up and down. So now, yep, it did have a little tilt to it. So it still looks a little overly tilted. Always hard to try to double check on lines, especially when everything's so blurry in the background. But that looks much nicer, at least in vertical lines for me. So, and yeah, frame's not dropping. Yay for RTX voice being wonderful and an absolute POS. So, okay, cheers. All right, so no more of that. At least I was able to copy my filters. So, next photo, let's see what we got. Ooh, actually, I need to crush my blacks on this one. Blacks I need to put down. Just get a bit blur down here. It is just really noisy down here. Oh yeah, that's way too much on the setting itself, but that's okay. Easily put that to 50, 50. Those two down, put the sharpness also at 50, 50. So just slightly reducing that. So from the difference, whether you can see it with the compression, everything else like that, it's something I can see, and the YouTube video will end up showing a lot better for what it ends up doing. And it's probably something that I'm not going to worry too much about. let's move on to the next one. Let's see, what have I done on this one? Have I done a whole lot on this one? Oh, I've done the blur on the background, but I haven't done a whole lot else. This one doesn't really need any color correcting, but it is a little bright. So let's see if I can change this here. Luminance of yellow. I'm going to bring down just, no, everything just needs to come down a little. So bring this down. Good. Off. Do like the highlights out there. Something's slightly off with the colors. Probably finding my right little color range for it. Not really change anything from what it was. Default there from what I took it as. So no. Photo editing can definitely go a long way. Did I keep that on? Yes, I did take the vignette off. Because this Tamron lens just does not like what's going on and auto-detecting on it. I think I've since updated the firmware on the Tamron lens that I'm using, so yeah, I think that's probably the closest one it is. This one, there's so many different things here, it almost doesn't matter too much. And that, yeah, make much difference. The verticals look good. Verticals in that one we fixed. Here, one of the few other little vertical pictures that I want, but I do want that beam out of there. Don't mind that person being there, but too much. Beam gone. A lot of that. And that's fine. I'm thinking a little more. Right. Probably check how my YouTube and everything else ends up looking. But, okay, no. Things are actually looking well on one. Yeah, that actually shows me live there. Good. Trying to make all this stuff work for first time properly streaming live, and I'll see how this all turns out into a video. It's gonna be fun. Okay, let's see here. Lens correction is fine. Not want any vignette, which is by default what I end up turning for a lot of different things. Let's brighten this here. Exposure up. I have the feather set to really, really high, so we can do this here. Exposure, there's shadows there. Versus what we had. What I will end up having. Probably need to put that down so I'm not getting too close to the foot, because the book's automatically going to crop out a little bit, so should help me out here. Fortunately, I'm at a weird angle. But don't really need to sharpen it. This is going to be much smaller on a page versus a full page spread. This one. All right, let's get blur added onto here. See here if I drop or skip any frames. 27, 150 with a bunch. Let's see if this wants to crash on me or not. Oh yeah, no. Yay for RTX voice. Wonderful thing, but absolutely horrible with most of what I end up wanting. Oh, okay. I want a teeth whitening light. Yeah. All right, so now teeth whitening also works for eyes, especially for eyes. So you'll end up finding a lot when it comes to eyes and making sure that those end up looking well, end up having my teeth whitening to be whatever. And I think Lightroom by default has its own teeth whitening, but no, it's not that great. And then I've adjusted my own little thing for a very simple teeth whitening thing. Little exposure, half the saturation, done. If you end up doing it too much, then it looks completely fake. Well, this looks like I'm just adjusting the teeth for the actual colors that the scene actually had. So get exposure, edit that real quick. And that much, that looks good. Bring down the saturation just a little bit. If I do too much, doing a lot of these edits mainly because the lighting in every single Tango festival is absolutely atrocious. This right here is because there is a big blue light being shined right in that little section. That's a white cloth. That's the same cloth that this is, but there's some crazy lighting going on everywhere. If I reset this here, this is the original lighting with 8000 ISO at 1/80th of a second because I want to freeze some stuff, but I can't do really much higher than that without bumping the ISO even more in this lighting. It is insane what actually happens at these festivals. So I think I'm good there. I might actually do some temperature adjustments. Green, I don't want too much yellow, if any. See here if I can remove some of the purple that's on the skin and everything. And a little bit of the purple lighting that's bouncing around. So I should be able to move purple right here by adjusting the temperature accordingly. And then it won't look so bad. And the difference between that and that, if you can see with the compression, end up having these neat little changes to make the person so much better. And this is a photo book, so I'm not trying to get perfect people 100% of the time, but I do want my colors to be as accurate as possible because when you're printing, color accuracy ends up being a big thing. Any of those any weird spots that come out is going to be much more noticeable, while a little bit of someone has a little bit of acne or a birthmark or a little extra wrinkles or things like that. They're having a bad day. I really don't want to mess too much with it. Once again, I can do little spot brushes if I want to. I'm going to have to figure out why I have that view on this one right now because I do not like this view. Is that because it's on clone? Nope, that makes no difference. So I'll have to figure out why this view is this view. Oh, it's because visualize spots was on. Okay, so that's a neat little thing. It'll actually show the individual spots and where details actually are. So that little bit can easily change that. So if I remove that little spot on the face, for the most part, doesn't matter that much. All right, so this one's as done as I think I'm going to want to worry about it. Let's see here. All right, and this is where that blue light that's coming from the top is coming down on the shirt. Blue or black light, I don't remember what it was. When I get a say on the lighting, I'll try to specify stuff, but for the most part, I'm dealing with something that's not that great. Here, hey, that actually did my ins transform. I do not want a vignette because for print, the vignette looks a whole lot worse than just not doing it. Vignette looks great for automatically doing online photos because it much more focuses on people, but as soon as you get a print, the corner darkness in a corner on a print does not look as nice. At least for me, I don't think it does. As we can see here, good friend of mine, Tyler. And because lighting is always a pain on all this stuff, temperature, I do not need, no, I need my teeth whitening, just a light bit here. Just do this here. Some people are just like, well, how white are people's teeth? For the most part, most people have much whiter teeth than will ever show up in a photo. How do I know this? Well, mine aren't the whitest, but that's neither here or there. But when you end up taking photos and you end up getting sunlight, usually that's the temperature that you end up working with. Those are the ones that end up really being a giant pain to work with, because you got to color correct it, and everything else may look good, but your teeth being white will reflect that yellow a whole lot more. So automatically expecting to do a want him a little brighter. I need that more focused on his face. Have a high feather on that texture, a little more clarity. Haze, brightness there. It does that. I actually probably should do that a little more. Get up here a little more. Put more of his whole entire face that's lit up on that. I need a lot of extra color correction. I'm not too worried about the blue color cast. If I really want to, and end up doing a temperature, boosting the yellow quite a bit. And turning this from the blue to the orange. But it kind of goes a little overboard. Even if I take this down to a certain bit, there's still going to be so much blue in that it's almost not worth even touching it at all. However, I should be able to, in color, find my saturation for blue. I could remove blue completely. Of course, if I do that, then I remove it from her actual blue shirt and everything else that's blue on it. But this actually gives it a much cleaner look overall. But it is reflecting there. I probably am going to remove a little bit of blue because I don't want too much everywhere, but it's just a little much. And then I can bring the blue luminance up, and that brightens it up if I want. That almost looks a little bit too synthetic from there. Am I going to worry about? Yeah, I probably should. Probably should. Here. Horizontal looks good since I don't really have too much for vertical to look at. So boom, now that horizontal beam in line looks good for what's happening. All right. So yeah, okay. Yep, yay for RTX voice. Not working. How we're doing here. Well, looks like I'm actually doing okay. Oh, may help if I actually have myself playing in the background. And I do. Okay, so no, I'm actually showing up live really nicely. All right, did I lose anything? No, I didn't. So, yeah. Hey, if you use RTX voice, good luck to you. Make sure to restart your computer, restart it when you're doing stuff, because it likes to use too much. And I'm using an RTX card. I thought it was mainly an issue when using GTX 6. I think I had a 1050 Ti, which technically did work for it. Worked great. But when it got to a certain point, it kept failing. Just like, is it using RT cores? I highly doubt it. Worked just as cruddily as it did on my 1050 as it does on my 2060 KO. Which, guess neither here or there. All right. Well, I think for the most part, this one's probably where I want it. Where we started, where we end up. Brightening up the face, whitening the teeth a little bit. For the most part, I picked a lot of these pictures because they're already good. Good picture of friends. After we ended up doing a little bit, I need to adjust the vertical and horizontal. Actually, this one, transform is good. And the effect, move my vignette, and auto. Boom. Automatically did that. That did a little bit of a stretch. So let's see if auto level will do it, or auto vertical. I don't like vertical. Auto level just rotated it for me. So you end up noticing at least what's going on here is that it's stretching it in a weird direction for auto versus off. So the people are getting stretched. For the most part, I don't want that. I want the vertical stuff is what's causing that, to make sure the verticals are perfect. Instead, telling it level, I want the horizontal to be better. And really, I'll probably try to do that myself using the wood bar that's bisecting all their heads, which realistically, you try to avoid that when you're taking pictures for portraits, but that's not what this is. This is just a fun little group shot for what we end up having. And from the looks of it, probably don't have to do a whole lot since everyone's so small. I could do teeth whitening on all these. Yeah, Tyler's teeth are a little whiter. Everyone else, it's because it's all daylight. It all depends as to how crazy everything is. If I want to, I could definitely whiten up the eyes and make everyone's eyes pop, but if it was individuals, that would be one thing. Right now, that's not what I'm working on. So, but because this is for a photo book, I'm actually going to do that a little bit. Do just a little bit on each one of these little things. For the most part, probably wouldn't worry about this for at least publishing online. But because this is a photo book, everything that has color will always show up darker. So if the teeth or the eyes, even if it's just a little bit, will always look worse in print than it will on your screen. Because you're multiplying colors versus multiplying light. The more colored light you put in there, the more white something will look. While for the more colors you put on a piece of paper, the darker it will actually end up looking. Since you're starting with white and then you're always adding to white. Versus with light, you're starting with dark and adding light to it, always brightening up. So that is why I'm going to make sure I get a little bit here between everyone's eyes to make that end up doing that. One. Let's get myself back. How much are you really going to notice it? To be perfectly honest, we're probably not going to notice it much at all. Going from one to another, especially with compression, it's not something that's going to be noticeable. However, something when you end up getting something printed out, yeah, it's going to be a lot more noticeable for what we end up having. All right. Exactly what this place is. It was a burger and fry joint. I think it was mainly known for their fries. I believe they had like, what, 10 different seasonings back here and dips and things you can do for fries. And they had like another 10 different style of fries, whether you want a crisp cut, traditional, wedges, all this other stuff. And did you want sweet potato or purple fries, or they had all sorts of stuff. So it's a fun little bit. This one probably won't do anything on, except I do want the exposure a little higher. About that, do I want the contrast? Less contrast, more contrast. I like more contrast. Find that good. Myself back to exposure. Not gonna bother touching it. Doesn't really need to be. But this one, yes, we are going to need to work. So let's zoom in a little more. If I can, I like to do like the last thing I ended up doing from the previous photo or something I know I'm going to be doing in most photos, which this one is teeth whitening. He actually has incredibly white teeth. Not a big deal. I'd like to be editing the eyes a little more to make the eyes pop, but hey, I only got what I got with this. So here also need to end up brightening face only to make sure his face pops. A little bit. Shadows. Jeez, that's actually a whole lot. So black a bit. Texture, clarity, and dehaze. Here's up a little bit. That vignette effect because it's just set on my default anyways. For the most part, that'll look good in a photo book. Don't need to edit a whole bunch of colors. I guess I could. Tommy. Organizers. Let's just get his exposure. But the effect is off, or what I had, I'll just turn it on, but I'll remove the vignette. brightness up a little bit. Less there, and it's a little bright on the yellows. It's not color. And so I turn that up. I do not want up nearly as much. Oh, that's the orange that it is. That's a neat little trick if you aren't familiar with it. What we got right here is the selector. If you select and mouse over, it highlights exactly what is changing. So right now, orange is highlighted. If I go up here, it's still orange. If I move down here, oh, it's detecting blue. So that's what it's primarily going to do. It's going to adjust the ones usually around it. If I do that, it's doing blue and purple. I don't want to edit those. Fine, I got a little cast here. Curve for blue. Darker blues turn black, which I normally do for the reds because at least knowing my camera, red is a little bit. And I have too much green in this photo. I'm going to have to do that with a it's going to be something you might not even see yourself. It's up to 10. A little bit more green in this section. Very well maybe do 2. Let's see. Did that to 15. That looks good. And this is 10. Difference from all that may seem subtle, may seem silly to some people, but hey, it's something I end up liking. Ooh, I did color changes here, didn't I? Yes, I did. I'm probably going to more color here. Just for here, since they look blue and purple, I'd rather have those look like human fingers. That up more. Ooh, that's too much. Try to find that right little bit. Little change that I end up having, and I can bump down the saturation a little bit. Versus the original picture was, yes, it's dark, even at 8000 ISO. All right. Okay, this one I don't think I've done much of anything to. No, I have done nothing to this. Brighter, turn off. Get completely transform. Auto's just doing a level. Yep, auto on level is doing that fine. This probably isn't done. Ron detects that. Eight. Don't want that. Exposure up on the face. Shadows. And my detail to that to 70, give more contrast changes to smooth out some of the noise since it's way too high. All right. Got this photo here. I do have my highlights a little much, especially looking on the nose there, so I can even adjust that for lights. I can highlights down if I wanted to, because right now it's really bright on the nose. It doesn't need to be that bright on the nose. It needs to look even and uniform there. Do have quite a bit up. Nope, that warms up the rest of the scene a little bit too. All right, temperature down, move that up. Paint. Get rid of that mess there. I got contrasts here. I'm a little high. Okay. What do you know? Multiple layers over top. Get me exactly what I want. Getting rid of the bits. Rid of that color cast. And color cast on the ear. Color finger. Fingers are okay. So there. Did I already brighten that up? Yes, I did. What I had started with, yeah, not so much. Now hopefully good enough for print, but I am going to go ahead. Let's do blur for the background since there is still quite a bit of noise in the background I want to remove. Yes, this is just going to destroy coding, most likely, or maybe not, or it's just updating, taking its sweet time, doing what it. Yep. Yes, indeed, that completely killed my decoding. Oh, it's a wonderful little thing. Wonderful adjustment brush. But it is a giant pain. Yep. Close out of that. Hopefully get everything else I have open working okay. Probably just need to move on to the next photo. See if that wants to fix it. Now, all right, let's get back to myself here. Assuming it is memory. CPU doing way too much. Right. Okay, for a computer not being top of the line. Yeah, run on something a little older. All right. Couple friends again from one of the previous photos that we had going on here. Yep, couple friends. Awesome couple friends. Want to make sure that they have themselves in the book a little bit. They might be in the book a little bit too much already. I'd have to double check what the book is actually set to. Let's do adjustment brushes. Not going to worry about the blur on the background. It doesn't look that bad on this one. Teeth whitening. That's right. No eyes. Date. No. All right, let's see here. Let's get my exposure on this. I need to set a button for my saturation. That's what I need to set. Have exposure, have a contrast. I need a saturation button. That'll make that so much easier. That. Move my. Get. Lens correction is in there. And I'm going to look at. And I think I am good on this. Yeah, could set my sharpening a little higher, so. And 5 just overall does that everywhere. And I'm back to being good on recording. So Next photo. Oof. This needs. It's actually, it's going to be fine once. It. Oh. This one's probably going to be a lot harder to end up. Yeah, 85 is too much. Work with 75. But there. Yeah, no. Just so hard for how really dark everything is on a lot of this stuff. That's fine. That look as good as possible. Hard. I'll have my effect on there. Yep. There. Ten, 10, and 5. Again, trying to get more detail in the face from a little side profile, which I could complain. This is how dark the actual picture was, how dark the room actually was. Taken at 1/80th of a second, ISO 8000. To be realistic, especially at, only at 70 millimeters. I figured I'd be a little close in that, so I possibly could have dropped the shutter speed down a little more to get a little bit more light in there, but it's so hard when they're turning, when someone's in light, out of light, everything else like that, just trying to find a good setting to end up working with it. Since then, I've gotten a new camera, but yeah, you can just see the histogram. It's just like, yep, everything's there. There's almost nothing to work with. But you can end up recovering it to quite a bit. And now that I'm looking at it, add 2. Overall picture a tad too bright, but I can make a little brighter. 5. Does it do a whole lot? Or something too bright? Her face should hopefully look the same, but everything else, so she stands out a little more. That's the whole thing. Make people look good, make them stand out. Something for a photo book of people happily dancing. Let's see here. Ah, beautiful eyes. Fortunately, the eyes are so dark. This is where teeth whitening, right eye, brightens that up just a little bit. Getting in there? Trying to. And then I also have an eye enhance. Pop the eyes out if it caught any color in it. Fit. They changed the keyboard shortcuts for fit and not fit, so let's see here. Up. Shadows. Draw a little more. Lights down. I want her to pop. Highlights. Don't want that nose to pop out too much. There, but I do want the overall exposure brighter. Oh. Is a little bit weird. That's actually much, much better. However, a little more pink. Too green. Finding that right little bit. 2, 3. Yeah, oh my goodness, trying to get skin tones and everything else looking good. What did this look like originally? That's what it looked like originally. That's what we turned it into. I got a little bit too much purple. That is distracting. Not sure if you're noticing that. That blue and purple, it looks a little distracting. So let's remove that out. Going to add a little green and a little orange. Do a little paint right on there. Give that a little bit more color. And do a little less than that. You can probably do 20. Probably want positive 25, somewhere around there. Make that look a little better. And then let's do a little more since there's a little bit more around certain edges. Cleaned up just a little bit more. Weird there. A lot of blue right in there. So let's see if I can remove some blue. Color. Saturation, let's get this blue there. Don't want to do it too much because it will look a little weird. Do want a good portion of that gone. And all that from have there to what we have there, but I have too much saturation too. So this, let's get a little saturation out. I want to match the arm a little better. That works. That works wonders. So that looks much more natural than what we had before. So again, if you can't remember what we had before, where was it? Let's do exposure adjustments way before. Yeah. Quite a bit different. Video. Coder overload. Shouldn't be having any video overload. Yes, I should probably change my coder overload to be something a little different here. Output for recording. I guess I could change that, but I want it to look as best as I can. So, not gonna worry about it. Let my computer hate me for now. But hey, I removed RTX voice, and that's probably my biggest issue was with RTX voice. As I look at this photo, it's going to need a little more one. A little bit more pink. Positive 5. That's too much. 2, 3. That looks good there. Whether you can see it on your end. A lot different when you're working with a calibrated monitor. Oh wow, I've been doing this for 52 minutes. Holy crud. This has been way too much time trying to get this to work. Oh, barely any drop frames, but yeah, encoding. Oh, encoding. How's this looking? Oh no, I look good otherwise. So I can only hope I sound as good as I end up looking on my little monitor screen. So we're good here. We went from this to this, and those eyes pop a little bit, which is the goal without hopefully looking too out of it. So let's see, what do we got here? Oof, this one is way too dark. There's also one I'll probably want to do some skin retouching, since it needs a little extra smoothing as a possibility. Exposure up. This, so it's centered. Move, saturation down. Read. Too green. Was just a little bit. Eyes, don't see that. Ooh, what about my... Yeah, this needs it. This needs, using that pillar as an example right there. Just that there, it still needs it a little more from the looks of it. Those look close, that looks pretty close, depends on round pillar and lighting. What else? That one, not really that one. That one's fine. All right, and this one, no effect. Camera on. Which, most part, I think this one is good. Most part, yeah. Auto exposure and everything else looks fine for the most part. Makes it easy, easy, easy. Okay. Make their face brighter. Move a little color because that sort of brightens and mutes everything a little bit. Texture clarity. More texture in the skin, more clarity in the edges. The haze ends up making sort of does an S curve to an extent that you'd end up getting in your tone curve, just at a smaller scale in the all single slider. So I think I want to do any other shadows. If I could always crush the shadows, but everything is always going to look darker and harder to notice. Doing it outside. Doing it on print. 50. There. Okay, that color's blue is a little annoying, but is a little distracting. So get my color here. Saturate blues and by blue. It. And let me remove my saturation for here. Saturation down more, and I'm shadows up. Nope, shadows are going down. And good. Now you can't even tell that there was something there when you look at it before and you look at it after. Boom. Does add a little separation, but it's a little bit too much. I'd almost rather it be black. You can't really tell. You can see where his arm is anyway, so I'm not too worried about that other than black pants in the background. Big whoop there. And it actually looks pretty upright for taking all these pictures handheld. See if transform will be able to find anything. Level does that. What does that? Does a little of both. How much of a difference? A little bit different, so it found something. Either way, probably fine. And last photo here. Very similar. Same two people. End up getting the very solemn look. Then I get the much happier look. Positive there, no. Positive 1. 50, no. 1000, 8, 7, 10, 5. Get some teeth whitening here. From photo taken to I have, yeah, that blue kind of pops. So let's get that blue. I adjusted the saturation, but she needs to pop a little. So let's make her pop a little. Just on her face. Don't have to do too much color adjustment. Ooh, I am going to have to do color adjustment. Yikes. All right, color adjustment time. 25, 20. But this arm looks weird. Fix said arm, but it doesn't look so weird. that hand there, that little underarm there. But did that look like from? I did that, but color. Let me get also. Where is? Yeah, that's the magenta. Let's turn full warmer and saturation. Oh, not too worried about it, but it looks better than it did before, which should have been, yeah, just looking at that little spot. All we're working on is this little spot right here. Right. Fortunately, I don't know why my Facebook streaming to YouTube doesn't want to work. Probably YouTube, because YouTube giant pain. So yeah, how to add that channel. Else is online and working. YouTube's working. That's working. Right. What was it? To add content is not as easy. Oh well, I'll figure that out later. Streaming on 2 platforms when it was going to be 3. Just to have something up. Just to do something. Just to see how it all ends up looking. All right. Actually, this one's fine. As if I wanted to. Could use a spot healing brush to remove a few little spots. Realistically, yeah. Not going to worry about it. Not going to show up that much. If the person wanted me to, yes, I would definitely be doing full Photoshop editing with full better eye sharpening, as well as skin smoothing to make it look natural, as if it was just makeup for some people. For the most part, my workflow isn't too much different than what I've already done here. It's just like, what would I do different on this photo? Oh, sure, I do little things, get rid of a little bit of dandruff for something shared online. People wanted it. It is what it is. I think this is all I'm trying to do here. So one moment while I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to see if that's going to be too much, but I haven't gotten any notifications anywhere. Not sure if I would otherwise. No background music, which I'll see if I can try to get background music for something in the future. But this is a set of Tree City Tango. So I got my 20 photos. I'll get 12 out of them. I'll probably do, not sure which one I end up wanting. I may end up doing 2, because these 2 photos are awesome photos out of my whole entire set, which is what? 1,364, narrowing it down. Yeah, there's a lot. I think I narrowed it down to, yeah, 79, 136 out of all of them. I think I end up liking enough that I want to share for those 2 days. I have more days, but yeah. Put this all up. Oh yeah, I had 50 photos from this one, and then final selections. 220. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. So let's see here. These are done. Let's see if I can get back to a different set. I'm not even editing on the direct things. I'm editing on my smart previews right now too. One moment. I gotta get plugged in. Everything on smart previews. should have hopefully done the appropriate storage, production, and plugged in one of my two external hard drives. Which one is this? Find out. Oh, that is the right one. Wonderful. So yeah, Friday and Saturday from these 2 nights. I think I had the most photos of. That's why I did that one. But I also have all of these photos to look at. And I have 29 photos to choose from. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oof. So many of these photos are going to need additional edits. All right, so time to do some bulk editing. A lot of these photos probably didn't have a whole lot going on for them, but let's go to 50 on this. Even change? Yes, it did. I gotta go even more. 500. Ah, that's much closer. 450. 2450 looks about right. A little. No. 6. Here, let's go as previous. Never mind, don't do as previous. 2450 and 6. Let's see if this works. 6. Oof. Jeez, this is so hard to make something work. Yikes, yikes, yikes. It's a 10 to even attempt something. Yeah, that one's not making the cut. Much as I want a picture of myself in there, it's not making the cut. 2450. 50. This one's probably not making the cut, but not 100% sure yet. Yeah, these were just my original selection. So yes, this is going to take quite a bit to try to get into to see what I end up liking. Really need to just be setting up a preset for all of these individual ones, but this one has a different tint than the other one, so do that. This is getting effect. Fine. Yeah, so many things I need to edit on this. 450 looks so much better. Little temperature change, but to be perfectly honest, this is what it originally looked like. So you can always change your white balance after the fact when you're shooting in RAW. So really, I don't care all that much when it comes to my white balance in camera, making sure it's perfect. So let's see here. We need to brighten up the face. To be exposure. Face by quite a bit. Got it. 20. Clarity up to 15. Brings that out a little more. 5. That's too much. Without radial filter, with radial filter. Make the person pop. overall everything needs to be adjusted. Good, same with this. Exposure 5, this is going to 8, 15. Actually, that is a bit too much. 5, 4, after 1. Worried about exposure, but I am more worried about clarity. That do much of anything? Not really. Got a little sharper, not too much, so. Ah, as a little too much purple cast. Did want to brush. Let's have a little bit too overly purple. Trying to get rid of that just a little bit. That changed. That got a little bit off her forehead. Probably a little bit too much. So, and let's increase a little bit now. 8 there, wonderful. Already had this, but saturation just a little bit. As it is just a little bit too much on. There we go. That looks, yeah, just everything just looks a little bit too contrast. Help the whole image. Things go from this, something much better to end up doing. I need clarity overall. Phase. Oh, that's too much text. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Yeah, we're going to need to brighten this up at 1. Saturate a little bit. Brightness up. Help. Dress white a little better with that. That up. Oh. Oh, it was fine. Brighten it up. Bit. Effect. I should be doing this in all of them, just letting that camera on fit what it ends up doing, but it looks better without it, so off it goes. Let's see here. Change, get rid of all this little bit here. So let's change our temperature. I want orange. Also, this here. There. Rid of a lot of the purple cast. That's on everywhere. It's very orange that I'm adding to it, but that's fine. I can to 10 or orange to 0. No, it's going to have to be 40. Let's see what that is. Let's remove. I'm going to have to do a lot more micromanaging this one. or adjust the flow so it's not so high. 10. Fine. More worried about this arm. Settings. Do better with the slightly heavier settings. Oh, those two can move to this brush. Lighter. All right. Here with exposure with and see before and after. That's before. This is after. Thing. Overall highlights are a little high. Didn't have to run at such insane settings. It'd be so much easier to just, yeah. So let me complete that thought. If, you know, these festivals actually had good lighting, then photos are so much easier. So I don't have to run my ISO super high, and I could actually run my shutter much higher than get my exposure perfect in camera, which, yeah, good luck getting perfect exposure when it's pretty much a dark room. But what you will end up saying, this is done for the evening. This was an evening milonga with interior lighting only. So with interior lighting only, this is what I have to deal with. Exactly what it looks like. Basic defaults. Adjusting that. Exposure a little higher. Effect. Setup for camera on and on there. Boom. Bit on it. A little bit. Too much. There isn't too much color information I have on here. It's a little. Let's saturate face. Bring a little shadow. It's the color saturation. Tiny bit. And let's get the temperature changed to get rid of this little spot here. Here. Back, shoulder blades. As well as even right here. That blue. A little harder to get rid of, but you can to an extent. Yeah, hair to those little purple spots. So we went from that with those little purple spots to looking much more natural. Is it perfect? No. A little better. I'm going to do 20. Oof, no. 10. 10. I do not. Well, since I just got that little spot there, just doing a little extra layering. There, so new, a little bit more here. Probably not 10, probably close to 8, since it didn't seem to have lost its own color in her face. But the rest, I kind of don't want any color in the rest. So let's get positive 8 for everything. Brings her back to life. my initial photo being, yeah, to something a little nicer to do, but highlights out and make her pop. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I have 28 photos to edit. Brickwork to be straight. Full. D. That's fine, that's fine. Don't need much on that one. Don't need to brighten up the face. This one, 400. 2, 3, 250. Exposure. He has awesome eyes, so let's make these eyes pop. Teeth whitening onto eye. Have the whites of the eyes show up. Not getting too low underneath since we do have an eyelid right there, so don't want to get rid of said eyelid, which you will definitely end up doing your first couple times trying to edit some of these things. That there, since that's the reflection. There, let's do eye enhance. I doubt there's any color information in here, but if there is, that'll pop that out a little more for eyes. That makes him pop. Go from that to that. His eyes just pop out a little more. Bring exposure just on him. I don't need it as much as everyone else. Bring this down a little bit. Let's bring our transform to the vertical lines. Can't find anything, so let's get here. Lines, put that pillar there, make that up and down, and bring our texture clarity dehaze up. Make it pop a little more, and I'm working on it. Something. I don't know what. Right. I think that's looks pretty good. Here we started. And where did we end up? Wonderful. There. Get those verticals. 450. 100. 4. Exposure up. Down, shadow. Fine with that. 10, 10, 5. Only do so much on this little picture. The smaller people are, the harder it is to end up. Someone pop. Down a little bit. Go 2300. That works better, but I do want this to be black. White. I think that's what I can work with there. Versus default. Wonderful. Let's get rid of that blue though. Color, let's remove some blue here. Saturation. Blue goes down. Blue. And down just a little bit. Hue. Red. Let's change that light color just a little bit. Saturation's Oof. We need to get rid of that. Blue gone. To gone. Gone. Let's see what all those changes from really big blue to something a little bit more muted. Wonderful. I guess I could change the hue a little more, but I don't think I need to. I do need this a little bit. All right. Let's see here. And now we have the very next day. So we went from evening to daylight. We have sun shining in. But yeah, auto settings doesn't do anything. Actual photo. What I had. Let's up for overall exposure. Yeah, ISO 500, 1/500th of a second. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Highlights almost brushed. Shadows I can bring up amazingly well. Still going to there. Stuff the color looks okay. Let's bring our exposure and face a little better. Shadows up because that's going to affect. Let's do the same thing with side. Let's get some teeth whitening in on here and let's see what we can end up making. Not for her teeth, but for her eyes. Which already look pretty good. Just a matter of making them pop just a little bit more. Pop just a tiny little. All I want. New eye enhance. Pop out a little more. Bit. Eye enhance actually hurts it more else. No, it doesn't hurt it, but it does a little much. Rather have no eye enhance, to be honest. That is fine. I need a little bit more. Yes, I could do sharpening, texture, and clarity if I wanted to. Just have everything just like pop. But unfortunately, probably gonna hate this look. Add to that. Yeah. Like, does help a little bit. So it does end up giving something to it. Not need that much. So 5, 5, 5, 20. Not. Just gives a little bit extra definition, a little bit extra focus on her face. Get form, which of course it can't find in the background. And let's see, how are my lines? That's a better line. That's correction. Let's get that fixed up. So we went from this something we can much better see the person in focus that we're focusing on. Could I do a whole lot more? Yes, I can do a whole lot more with this. I could easily be cleaning up the face, doing a lot more with that. I could be cleaning up so much of the hair, not so much her hair, but his hair. He has a few little things here and there that can easily clean up. Are people going to notice it in a book? No. The people that do, they're not the people that I'm trying to get this for. I'm trying to make a fun little book for myself and for friends and other people that may want to do something. All right, so let's move on. Ooh, wow, this one's actually really good already. I probably don't have to do much of anything on this one, other than it is a little warm. So let's do 50, 10, 10, 5, 15, 12. He's already popping from the glow. I need highlights, shadows. Allow both of them to pop. And let's adjust verticals. There's our verticals. I really don't need to do anything else. That's the great thing about taking photos during the day. The original photo, it's not bad, but with just a little bit of changes, I can make people pop out, a little more details, and clean things up a little more. Same with this one. I'm just like, original photos, amazing already. Brighten it up those highlights a little more, shadows a little bit, crush the, I don't need to crush the blacks at all. Drop down those whites though. And move a little bit extra color. When you have good lighting, so much nicer to work with. So much nicer to work with once you have better lighting. So yeah, I don't even need to whiten the eyes or make them pop because they already pop. And because easy 500 ISO, and we are good to go. All right, let's see, what do we got here? Oof, yeah, this one needs to be brightened up. Shadows, highlights down, the whites down. But we need her to pop out a little bit. So let's get some exposure in here. 5. A little bit more shadows brought out. Let's see, go from that to see her, but she does not pop out quite enough. So let's bring that in a little more. Try to just bring out the eyes just a tad. Wonder, it's just like, what's this little bit going to end up doing? Hey, every little bit goes a long way for those little subtle pops. Get someone to just like, something to just pop out, show up a little more. Did you notice any difference? Not too much. That little white of the eye and a little bit around the eyelash makes a little bit of a difference. So, all right. Let's get lens correction to see. All right, and no vignette. So don't want any vignette in it. Once again, I could probably easily just set a preset for 0 vignette and for texture clarity days and saturation on default settings. I like to end up doing, just add a little bit here and there to be good to go. Like so much in this picture. So much in this picture. Let's go ahead. Basic adjustments here. So much in this picture. Great. Some teeth whitening on this. Let's burn the shadows and here. With some exposure, let's brighten the face up a bit. Face. Happen. Let's 1, 5, 30 here. And now I'm going to give us a little texture and clarity. Let's see a before and after. There's before. There is after. Wonderful, wonderful. I guess I can get rid of a few little blemishes. It kind of overshadowed him, and you sort of see the blemish more than anything else. So we remove it. All right. Well then, let's see what do we got for our next little photo here. This one needs to be adjusted on the vertical, actually. Maybe not. A lot of those chairs are straight, so we're fine. I love this photo, but highlight that. Exposure for both of them. Same thing. Highlights go down. Shadows go up. Just love this photo in general. Oh, so much fun to look at old photos for a photo book. Let's see what else do we got here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Apparently my session's been expired for Twitch and everything else like that, but looks like things are fine. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. All right. Oof. Let's take a look here. This is her face. I actually keep something. I reset. Feather. No vignette with vignettes. Just feels way too bright otherwise. All those times where, yes, vignette can definitely help. Changing our texture clarity dehaze because that's what I like to do for saturation, and those look pretty straight, so I think I'm there. A little tilt adjustment, slightly better. Face already has the right exposure stuff. But I could bring down a lot for the saturation for this, but I don't need to bring down too much. She's already plenty bright. Bring overall shadows up, get detail out, highlights down, whites down. Oh, done. Outside. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, the few Tango festivals actually had an outdoor little milonga going on. Outdoor milonga, shot through people. Grabbed this photo. Loved it. I didn't dance as much in the outdoor milonga one. Can't remember if I was tired or not at this one. Huh. All right, so let's see what we got here. Yeah. Same usual stuff that I've been doing. Brighten that up. That's camera on. Setting is here. Want vignette. Oh, vignette's fine. Affecting the background. Highlights is good here. Shadows isn't even affecting his face much. Fine. Shadows anyways. Soft, a little more clarity, all the same. And from this, yeah, I guess I could have had a higher ISO, but I could recover all this in post. Something's tilt. There we go. Use these little pillars up here as my little guide for what we're trying to straighten up. So let's see what else we got going on. That photo, like this photo too, also a little dark. Also needs more vignette. Vignette, point, feather, vignette. Bring him up. There. Tamron. Having just its own vignette. I think I'm good. I'll bring his face out a little more. Shadows. And what it originally was. What it was, what my preset did, what we finalized did. Actually, I really don't think I need this. At least not much. 5. For that. Make him pop. Wonderful. Let's see what else we got going on here. Beautiful picture, wonderful smile. My verticals are up. There we go. Don't think I really need to do anything. It doesn't matter. Lens changing. Over there. Eyes already pop. Yeah. Ooh, this is darker. Gonna need a little bit. Want yet. Shadows to pop more. Want a little bit more highlights. 5. And let's bring him up. Blacks. Let's see how it looked. That's original photo. That's after editing. All right, let's see what else we end up having here. Eyes already pop, but let's get here, increase the vignette, point, more vignette, feather, for to pop more than anything else. Don't need as much highlights. Bring shadows, usual few little changes. Well, just because I like doing it. 0.25. Extra shadows to make her come out a little more. From our original photo to our ready to share photo. And our verticals are good. How are our verticals here? Verticals there were good. Wonderful. Again, wonderful smile. Is a little warm. It's getting a little later in the day. We go back to original, yeah. A little later in the day. That's using auto settings, so we're going to need to change this. 400. That's too pink. And let's get here, 10, 10. Oh, that is accidentally changing settings. Correction, let's get this back to Tamron. Get this back to X. This one I do not need. You didn't even. You want him to 5, 5. That is still minor fine adjustment. Negative 24 is where it looks best already. Fine. Up here, let's teeth whitening on this. Going on. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I need his eyes. And we're going to eye enhance him as well. Let's get enhance. Makes the eyes pop just a little bit more. Fit. And let's see here. We got original. Have ready to publish. And now we're back indoors. As you can see, my ISO is huge. And the colors are all off because, oh my goodness, indoor is a giant headache. Yeah, original photo, basic settings that I have, noise reduction, a few little things. There. This is the problem. High ISO on cameras, you're going to have issues no matter what with edges. Let's just say it's going to be a little more hectic, but okay, let's see here. Boom. $375. Fine there. This 5, 10, 10, 10. And let's 70 for noise reduction. And so, oh, here's my 24 to 70. I'm gonna have that more feather, make it more gradual all the way around. How's vertical? Fix it there. This much. That looks a little better, but oh. Let's see what those little differences. Beginning to smoothing might be a little bit too much. Still have a sharpening. Sharpening 5 on that. I'll narrow up my sharpening lines a little bit. That looks a lot better. Let's see what. 10, 10, 5, 12, 2300. No, that's too much. 25. Okay. 7200. Better. Curve pop. Exposure. Face. A little bit more here. And let's go ahead and change those eyes. We're going to whiten the eyes here. Once again, being careful that we're not actually removing what we'll actually have for the eyelid, which in photos, you'd be surprised as to how easy it is to miss. And then we are going to eye enhance here. Pop out those colors. Popped out. Okay, I do bring this. The more I bring it up, the more noise it's going to get. So we got to be careful as to how much we're going to up. M, this singular, to go away. Wonderful. And I'm going to one little dot on her forehead to get out of there. I could remove a few dots here and there, but that's not distracting like that was, or this was here. And it's not perfect, but if you're looking at all the little changes I've done, heck, I'd probably do that in Adobe Photoshop to make it look a whole lot better than it actually is. All right. So wow, I only have 4 more photos in this set to do. Then I have both San Diego Tango Marathon as well as Tree City Tango photo edits done. It looks off. I think this. That looks better. Thing. Something that just looks slightly off still. Or what? Lights look good. I think it's just too much movement. Ooh, yeah, let's change the 50. This. I would want less whites. If that's normally one of those little things that's just like, oh, something looks a little weird. Usually the whites are too much. That's probably what's going on here. No, not the whites. It's a little bit the whites. That looks better. All right, 10, 10, 5. Get off looks better. Arm vertical looks good. Lens correction. Let's fix this. Back here, I'm going to have a little bit more. Smoothing now, 60. Better brightness here. Get our exposure up. 6.5. Bring whites down though. Well, let's see here. We had this, except I'm getting a little color cast at the bottom. So we are going to bring back our vignette. More vignette. I'm more for center midpoint, but I'm more feather. Back. That's getting rid of our weird little color cast that we had before. Go from that. Do that. That got rid of our little color cast. All right. So, let's see here. else do I have going on here? Have the sharpest photo. Hard to get sharp photo when, of course, you're dealing with that with such high settings to try and get it to look what it looks like. Really should be working with like a 1.8, but that was purchased after this festival. I think I got my 85-1.4 from Sigma about a year ago. A little more than a year ago. I think I got it January last year. So the only festival I actually used that lens on was Tango, which I love that lens. Probably should have used it a little more. I'm pretty sure I got that for that year. Yeah, the 2020 Tango before everything got shut down. So let's do our usual little fixes because all needed to happen. Oh, like the vignette. And yeah, keep the vignette on. 50. That is finding that right full balance. 550. Five. 8. And how are let's see what we got going on here for some changes. Looking over. Keep the bottom top of that eyelash. Almost can't tell it's there, but when you end up putting it too close to the eyelashes, you can just be like, ooh, yeah, that wasn't needed. That's what's needed. As a little eyelash. Eye. Brings that there from our original to it's there. I have too much of that blue though. So let's see here. Let's blue set. Where let's see here. One of the few places I touch is calibration. Let's see if I could. Saturated here fixes so many different things. Color to move my view and these work. Do that. Works pretty. Those highlights. So we go from do that. Wonderful. This might need that same calibration. Maybe not so much. This is just too green. So we're going to that looks a little better. That looks better. That looks good. So I'm going to change the pace. Let's see if I can do a quick little previous. Not quite, but this was not the best picture. This probably isn't going to make any of the cuts. Amazing how it's setting the saturation for blue fixes so many other colors. More something that you do when you're editing landscapes, more so than editing this. Yeah, I do. Other color saturation. That was blue. Fine. You. This is not getting that's being removed. This one I'll work with previous. Out, there's too much color, you can remove saturation. That much. This stuff. Boom. If anything needs to get removed from all these photos, let's see what we got. I love all the outdoor photos. Anything with daylight, oh my goodness. That's the only downside to tango and a lot of other dances. It happens at night. And when people are dancing at night, the lighting's horrible and the photos will never be as good as in the day. So we're in the day versus we're at night. I can't even, just the ISO requirements to be able to shoot it and have it even look close. ISO 500, 500. 1/500th of a second, 500 ISO at 2.8 versus 1/80th of a second trying to get what I was at 500 before, trying to get a good 2.5 extra stops of light plus an extra from 500 to 1000 to 2000 for 8 plus an extra 5 stops. So I'm pretty much working with 8 different stops of light capture, 8 stops or so from 500 to 50. No, that would be close to 9 stops of light from just the ISO and other settings. That's insane. Just from going to all of those. I think I have all the photos I end up needing right now. So before I end up getting to exporting, I'll probably have to say goodbye for now so I can export because that's going to take CPU resources since Lightroom sucks. And yeah, let's just say Lightroom sucks in a lot of ways. One of the ways mainly being on for me doing settings or using my macro pad to actually easily change a few little settings here and there. I can press a single button on my macro pad and now I can modify my exposure up and down with a twist of a dial. I can do the same for contrast. Took way too long just getting that together because the programming for Lightroom sucks and they don't have keyboard shortcuts for all these things. Wish they did, they don't, and nothing's customizable in Lightroom. It was only as customizable as Adobe After Effects or Adobe Premiere. Those you can rekey every single key to do pretty much anything you want. Or Not quite, you need like 4 keyboards to do it all, but same difference, sort of. But yeah, let's get this all here. I'll get all these things exported, then I can work on my photo book, which is going to be, let's just say I'm using Scribd. Yeah, I think it's Scribd for doing book publishing. Published all my things for doing that, had it all set up, and just need to import the photos into it. It's good for certain things. It's not the best. I'll probably want to see about getting Adobe InDesign. Yeah, that's going to be a fun little one to look forward into doing. But I'm mostly done with a lot of the stuff in the book. I just need photos from certain festivals, and these 2 festivals I don't have any high quality images of. I have the smaller resize that I edited before on a laptop, which that laptop has, yeah, me trying to do any editing on that's a giant headache. So much rather edit here to bring stuff to be even nicer. So I think that should do it for me today. So if you have any questions or if you want to see what's going on, you can just send me a message, reach out to me. You can email me, check out my website. I'll be putting updates on that at some point. We'll see when that happens, but I'll hopefully be trying to stream and do a little bit more on this in the future. All right. Well, until then, have a wonderful day. I probably need an ending soon. Dang, all I got is my starting soon. Well, things to fix in the future.